This is Graham Young. I'm Brian Travers, by the way. Hello. I've kind of tried to say hello to everybody, and it's fantastic you having on there. This is Graham Young, the world's foremost authority on the humble chip. He's reviewed 580 chip shops to the quality of their chips in the Birmingham area. I mean, if you want to know about chips, this is a man to add. The Michael Parkinson of chips. After you. Let's do this thing.
Are you impressed how I've...
Yeah, and you've kept the weight off. Yeah. You're doing good, kid. Let's go.
It's a magic trick.
It's fantastic to be here, by the way. Thank you. Hello, Kaz. Thanks for coming, everybody. It's cool.
No, thanks to everybody. And I've got to know Brian over the last year or so more than I did before. I think he's a wonderful chap. And it's a real privilege for me to be here tonight.
Likewise, my friend, likewise.
Just ask you a few questions and find out a bit about what makes you tick. So.
Okay.
Now the last time
I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I can tell you, Graham, it's Guinness 27 times.
The last time I saw you, Brian, was last week, and you were sitting next to Jeremy Corbyn.
Ah, good opener. Yes, well, is it a true story? One of our guys was in London, and he was on Corbyn Street, near Westminster. Nothing to do with Jeremy Corbyn, but Jeremy Corbyn was on the street, and he was talking to people, to strangers in the street on his way to work, and our guy, a guy called James Abdu, he said he went over and introduced himself and said, "We're fans, we're on your side," and we are. I mean, this isn't probably not a night for politics, but Jeremy says he wants a kinder, gentler politics in the world. Treat each other good, just be nice to each other, just be a bit kinder to each other. And he said, "What can we do?" And he says, I don't know, it'd be great to have you on my side. And we took this option up and decided to deflect a little flack for him for a week. Because the guy, he gets a lot of stick from everybody in politics. And so we did that. We went to London and we spoke on Newsnight, and I did this press conference and met all these great people, and he was cool, and he's a nice fella. Yeah. He does care. He cares about the working man, and where would we be without the working man? I mean, we might have all had some luck in our lives and make a few extra pennies, but we'd be nowhere without the labour of a working man. And that's what we rely on. It's where we all come. We all come from a long line of them. No matter who we think we are, we all had to work at some time, And he's a good man, yeah.
You were sitting so close to him. I thought you were going to be the new.
He wanted me in his right hand. He wanted me. JC wanted me on his right hand side, and that's where I sat.
Are you going to be the next George Osborne?
No.
The Midlands powerhouse.
No, I'm not a politician. I'm a musician. I chose music and I choose art in my life because I've been incredibly lucky. I've always been a good getter, I suppose, but. Art never hurts anybody. Nobody ever got hurt by somebody's expression. You can like it or you can't like it. If I've got a record on the radio or on the TV, you can turn it off. It's that simple. You can put the other side on and nobody's hurt. And music, the most abstract of all the arts. You can't see it, you can't touch it, but it certainly touches us, and we can certainly feel it, and it takes us to special places and times, and even makes us feel special, makes us feel sexy when we're feeling a bit low sometimes, and that's why I chose music and art, and that's what I do. And as I'm getting older, of course, the longer you spend in music, like in any business, any of us here in this room, whatever we've done for our lifetimes, we're better at doing it now than when we were 17. We're much better at doing it. Except for pop music. When you're 17, you're fucking fantastic. And at 57, you just don't. It's just not. But you can play the notes better. You understand it more. And painting to me is not too dissimilar to making music. It's not a team sport really. When you compose, you're on your own. When you paint, and it's very meditative and. You have time to yourself to think about what you're doing and time to concentrate on the things that are genuinely important to you. And so I'll just keep talking. As you can see, I can talk. I'll be great in the radio. There's no dead air. That's the death of radio. Then pregnant pauses, you can't have them. So we're in this room now, and Adam Sargent, my partner, and with Damien Goom and Laura Davis, who helped set all this up and put his dinner on tonight. It's a fantastic thing. I'll explain some of the paintings. So a while ago, I started painting these pictures called Pickaxes and Shovels, and I did silhouettes of working men digging holes in the ground with shovels, and where would we be without them? I mean, these are the guys that dug the transcontinental railway across America, and they were poor men. Rich men don't dig holes in the ground. And it occurred to me one day I'm in my car, you know, and I saw this guy leaning on his shovel, you know, at a portable traffic light, and nobody really respects these guys. You know, if you were asked, tell me that guy's story, and you didn't know him, you say, well, he didn't work hard at school. He has to work, he has to labour really hard, digging them holes in the concrete and in the road. He probably drinks, he's probably got kids, he's probably unhappy in his work, but he's still doing it. He's an honest man earning a living. What would we do with our guys that dug holes in the road? That's built our world. This place was built by guys with pickaxes and shovels. Then it occurred to me that after that transcontinental railroad was built, that a Klondike gold rush happened, where, you know, where the Rothsteins and all them set up their banking systems, and you could get the gold out of the gold mines and across from all over to the east and the west. And this was dug by the same guys. And as I'm doing it, I realise it's the same guys that dug all them kids out in Aberfan. I'm 57. When I was about 7 years old, there was a disaster in Wales called the Aberfan disaster, and it was a coal mine and the slag heap. And I've been warned about it for 50 years. That it's going to rain one day and that's going to fall down. And it did fall down, and it covered the school. And it's like a Pied Piper of Hamelin had been to Aberfan, which is next to Merthyr Tydfil, which is the little village near. And all his kids were gone. But it was exactly the same guys digging these kids out. So I think we owe a lot to the working man, and we don't often think about that. We kind of celebrate the rich guy, you know, and the guys who've had success. And success is down to a lot of luck. Doesn't matter what you know, it's still a great degree of luck included in that success. And I don't think we celebrate the guy with a pickaxe and a shovel. And I did that. And Jesus, that went on, didn't it? But you get where I'm coming from? At least it's a start. It's a start on something. And like I say, it's very meditative when you're painting. It's not a team sport. You're on your own. And it gives you time to think about these things. And at the same time, around that time, Muhammad Ali passed away. I thought, how do you respectfully celebrate one of the greatest guys in the world, the toughest guy in the world who feared nobody except going to Vietnam and killing somebody who didn't do anything to him. So he put his world title and his life, and he was a poor black man, you know, from Louisville, a poor man. But he would risk that rather than go and hurt somebody who hadn't done anything to him, like a Vietnamese kid defending his own land. And I have a great love and respect for Muhammad Ali. And then David Bowie passed away. And I don't know if we're all fans there, but I think he was an incredible fella. He was never scared of sexuality, and how somebody saw him. He wasn't trying to be a macho man or anything. He just did what he wanted to do and celebrated life. So I painted him as Mr. Lazarus, you know, and because he's still alive, really. And these great people, and these guys who dug the kids out in Aberfan, the guys that dug these railway lines, they're still alive, really, because we still live vicariously through their incredible action, you know, through their hard work and their sweat. You know, they didn't live a long time, them fellas. They lived a hard life, and so I feel very humbled and privileged, even having the opportunity to be able to have this spare time, this time to sit and paint these guys in the wee hours, the small hours, when there's no talking going on, and that's it, really, you know. I'm going to paint you, lot. I want to have a paint a picture of you guys. It's a nice evening.
When you were a kid, Brian, before...
You didn't expect that answer, did you?
No.
You didn't expect that much?
Not from Jeremy Corbyn.
Yeah. And this is the secret of being interviewed. You say what you want to say, not the question they ask. You kind of let them have a little bit and then get into what you want to say. It's like being a politician. I'm just looking over there at my mate, Don Campbell, the fastest man on earth. There he is. How you doing, Bob?
But before you developed this incredible intellect, there's a bit of a chicken and egg situation, I guess, when you're a kid, where you're not conscious of what's going on. But what came first for you, the desire to be an artist in painting terms, or do you think you heard music first and that sort of...
I think drawing first. When I was 11 years, I lived in Birmingham, in a place called Hall Green in Birmingham. I went to school in Borsall Heath, a school called the Moseley Road School of Art. And you went there at 11 years old, you know, like your secondary school. So if you was the kid in your class at school who could draw a dinosaur better than anybody else, or you could draw a picture of your dad and he had hands, his hands weren't behind his back, you got an opportunity to take this art exam, which was, you know, we were only kids, only 10, 11 years old. And I ended up going to the Moseley Road Art School. And of course, you know, we majored in bunking off, smoking, and looking at girls' bums. You know, and that was, of course, like any teenager. But what I realise now, after all these years, is the education we got was to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, how's anybody else supposed to believe in you? You've got to believe in what you're doing, you know, and the actions you take. And we learned how to do that. And actually didn't care too much about painting when I was at art school. It was only once I left and growing up. And the stuff that goes in it's in the back of your head, you know, and it all comes to the forefront as the years go by, you know, and that's what I learned. Music came after. We went to art school. We didn't have any music classes. You know, the most abstract of all the art forms, no music class in art school. And of course, we all wanted to be musicians. We were teenagers and we loved girls and we loved smoking and we loved playing up and pretending we were something we weren't, you know, and reinventing ourselves. And so started a band, but I think we had an advantage because we believed in ourselves and our self-expression and had faith in our ideas. And that's what I got taught at art school, yeah.
And how come you ended up playing saxophone? Because it's not an obvious instrument.
No, well, okay. But when I was 16, when we left school in 1975, there wasn't a lot of work in Birmingham. There wasn't, in the industrial centres in Britain. There was no work. It was the big dole time. Out of the whole band, I got a job. I was an apprentice electrician. Just as we wanted to start a band. You know, I was an apprentice. It's 13 quid a week, something like that. And when we started the band, I wanted anything that didn't need electricity, that you didn't need to plug something into. Do you know what I mean? I wanted to get as far away from that as I could. I appreciate it more now. But then I was just a tea maker or working on building sites on 27 floor buildings, and they'd send me up and down the stairs 60 times a day to make cups of tea. So I didn't really learn a great deal, you know. But it was anything that didn't have to do with electricity, and a saxophone's an acoustic instrument. And I always thought, if I learn how to play a few Beatles songs, I can go busking in the south of France, which was really, mine and Ali, the guy that was the singer, we planned to go busking in the south of France because we make more money. We didn't see it feasible as ever having a proper job. We stand at a bus stop one day and all these guys are going passing cars and we'll never have one of them cars, will we? You know, where we were at. And we actually believed we got more chance of having a hit record than having a car. Of course, it was a crazy idea, you know, and we did. Which shows how easy it is, right? But don't tell anyone. That's a secret, you know, just for us. Don't tell people, but we've all got a hit record inside us. You've just got to believe in what you're doing. I know it sounds extreme, sounds a bit weird, but if you can believe in your ideas, to have more veracity, to have more to do with reality than imagination. Ideas are what run the world, you know. Intellectual copyright is the thing, as he knows. Ideas is what it's all about. It's only music. It's only 12 notes. Okay, yeah, music class, and there's going to be some musicians in here I know who are going to be able to agree with me. If you understand what I'm saying, give me a big Evo, right? There's only 12 notes in music. If you look at a piano, and you count the first 12 black and white notes, that's all the notes there are in music. 12 notes, a chromatic scale. The next 12 are just an octave higher. If you want to know where an octave is, think of somewhere over the rainbow. Somewhere. That's an octave. It's the same note, an octave apart. Music's very simple. It's all about harmony. It's all about harmonic interval. But, you know, if you love it and if you believe in your ideas, you can make stuff. Everybody's got a hit record in them. Everybody's got a symphony in them. Everybody's got a novel inside them. Everybody's got a movie in them. Everybody's got a great poem in them. You've just got to believe that you have, that's all. And that's what I learned at school. Oh.
Yeah.
That's a dead air then, so I got him, didn't I?
And was there a specific teacher who really got you?
Yeah, there were a couple of guys, they were the art teachers, and just nice fellas, yeah. Like, they were all hippies, since the 70s, all wore dungarees and clogs and had long hair.
Because Roy Wood went to the
and we'd try and scrounge a fag off you.
Yeah. Roy Wood had already been...
Roy Wood from Wizard and Traffic and The Move and ELO. And Roy Wood, the great Roy Wood, he was in the school. Yeah. In fact, he left the school when I started there, he was just that little bit older. But there was a famous photograph in the school. And I'm sure we've all been in them. You all had to line up the whole school. and the photographer in them days would have to take a photograph by panning the camera around. And it was this incredible picture of Roy Wood at one end, and he looks like a gnome, doesn't he? You know, he's got a face like a you know, a fantasy creature from one of them programs on his own. And he's at one end, and he's got behind and run down, and he's at the other end. Which, you know, which is a mark of a man, really. And he was only a kid when he did that. And Duran was started at the school. And so many musicians came out of school, and we didn't have music lessons in the school. And it was an art school. That's the one thing that I changed. But then sometimes, so we had art classes every day, and I couldn't care about art while we was at school. It was the last thing we wanted to do, because it was another class. All we wanted to do was music. So maybe a music class would have made that happen, made us run away from music. So.
There was a TV series which has been ongoing, 7 Up, directed by Michael Epton.
I remember the original. I remember the first one.
He reckons if you have a 7-year-old child, you can sort of predict where people will
Absolutely.
go. So when you were 7, this is before you got to art school, what were you thinking then?
Oh, I can't remember.
About who you were?
Oh, I can't remember. I had one of them plastic Beatles wigs. You lot wouldn't remember this. But in the early 60s, you could get these plastic Beatles wigs. You know, the Beatles are very famous. It was like a crash helmet, you know. And I used to wear it all because I had ginger hair. And that's got problems in itself. I still have, really. I'm just going grey and darker. But I had this Beatles wig, and I used to wear it in school so much so it wore a groove on my head. My head was sore there. And I used to take it off me in school. I was thinking about that. Nothing serious. I was like any 7-year-old, man. I can't remember that far back. I can't remember 7 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think when I was 7, I was listening to the radio and stuff like Yellow Submarine will be playing, and I'd be thinking...
Yeah. What was that about?
Well, I've been thinking, how come people are in this little thing that's playing the music? Where have to go in there to do it? You know, you didn't understand what radio was when you were a kid. It's just where's this music coming from?
Well, radio in them days for me was... And there's some people here I can say who would remember this, but television wasn't on every day. It wasn't on all day. And on a Sunday, you'd have the Clitheroe Kid and Round the Horn, and you don't remember that, Gaz. You're far too young.
So what did your parents do? What was their background?
My father was worked on building sites. He was a pipe fitter and, whatever he could do to earn a living. Yeah. And my mum was a mum, and she worked in Lucas's and in factories. Everybody worked in them days. There's an old term, latchkey kids. We were all latchkey kids. You know, you come home from school and let yourself in the house, you know. And all
you still got your folks, haven't you?
Yeah. I was young when I was a young dad, and they were a young mum and dad. And my mum was only about 18 when I was born. Yeah, she's still alive. She's over here now. She lives in Spain, but she's come over to see me.
Yeah. Have they ever said to you, still?
When you're going to get a proper job?
Yeah.
No, it's been nice. I've been made up. Having made up, you know.
It's incredible, isn't it? Just making a living out of touring the world and...
Yeah, it's a ridiculous idea.
Yeah.
It's a crazy idea. And I can understand anybody not thinking it could happen to them, but you've just got to believe in your ideas. And,
even more incredible in a way that you're part of such a big band that is...
Yeah. Well, that's not just me, you know. I mean, as much as I'd like to take the credit for it all, a band is a band, and they're very often bigger than the sum of their parts. And when people pair off and try to do their own thing, they find they're not quite the genius they believed they were. I mean, it's probably got less to do with music and ideas and more to do with they look like the lads down the road from us, or you can relate to these people, you know. And we were just boys from an inner city area, you know, looked like any kids in any inner city. Could have come from Coventry or Nottingham or Leeds or Manchester, it doesn't, all the same, you know.
So who's the most annoying member in your band then? You spent all 35 years...
It's always the lead singer.
Is it?
Yeah, they fucking stand there with their back to you all night, ignoring you. Come along with you. No, it's not like that. Are you serious? If I was here to defend themselves, I could say something else, but no. So.
No, but all these years of touring, you must get on each other's nerves sometimes.
Absolutely, yeah.
So how do you get around that problem?
You just have to act grown up, and like Bruce Lee said, flow like water, you know, let it flow over you, just, yeah. To be honest, my whole life has been an incredible privilege, and I'm humbled to be sitting here saying this to you. But it's been an incredible privilege, and I don't know what I did right to end up in that situation. And I've met all my heroes, my musical heroes, and I've been around long enough to do that. And they say you get too close to your heroes, and the gold dust, the stardust rubs off. I got to tell you the truth, mine never. No. The best guys are always the nicest fellas and the nicest girls, and I got time for everybody, and they're enjoying what they do. And the ones who are a little bit insecure and a bit young, they're the ones with the bodyguards and a bit of attitude. But that's just because they're nervous, just because they're scared. And in time, they'll get better. They'll get more used to who they are. And
talking of the Beatles, there was a chance tonight in cinemas to see 8 Days a Week and their gig at the Shea Stadium.
Yeah.
And before I came out, I was looking at a chat I had with you a year ago, and you said, when UB40 were first having success, we were invited into a studio to meet George Martin and Paul McCartney, who was in his Stevie Wonder stroke Michael Jackson phase.
It's true. Yeah.
Michael wanted to know what we thought of some of his songs, and I joked they'd be better when they weren't demos.
I'll explain it. Okay. When we was only kids, we had a few hit records, and we get this invite from Paul McCartney, and to go down and visit him in London at Air Studios in Oxford Street. And we're all kind of incredibly nervous. The Beatles were a massive thing for our age group. And so we go down and we get invited in. George Martin's there. And I'd done these recordings with Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson. And do you remember, The Girl Is Mine, all them tunes, and them guys are kind of my age then. And they're looking at these teenagers going, what do you think of these tunes? I want to know, what do these young fellas think of? We're having hits right now. Are these tunes any good? And Paul McCartney's there, and you got a joint. You go, yeah, Brian. And I'm going, and I'm looking at all my mates going, seriously, and they're going, how did he know your name? Well, like I know your name, so I've come and asked you your names tonight. The old guys want to know the important stuff. I know it's important to everybody. We all know it's nice to be nice and be good to each other. And he says, what do you think of the tunes? I says, look, Macca, they're okay. They're good demos, but when you're going to do the real thing, And he said, and this is the point of this, it wasn't about me being glib, and he said, thing is, Brian, I never make demos, because if I can't remember the tune, how's anybody else supposed to? Fuck me. That was it, we've never made a demo in our lives since then. And if you can't remember the tune when you write it, how's anybody else supposed to remember it? And that's our ethos, And I tell that to every young kid who I've seen. We've got studios. I'm going to see them in studios. They're making demos to play people. They're writing their music as they're recording it, as they're writing it. It's no good. You got to write it in your head, and then the next morning when you wake up, it's like, how was that fantastic tune? I was like, how did that go? And if you can remember it, there's a chance somebody else might remember it. And best lesson I've ever had from a real statesman and a really wonderful fellow, Paul McCartney, who does so much for people. He doesn't talk about it. But, if you get to know these people, when you see how much they do, and they're really good people, and they use their superpowers for good, not for evil, yeah. It's a privilege to meet people, yeah. But not just famous people. It's a privilege to meet Kaz Kennington and Trish and Pete and Julie and Adam and Mark and Bev and John and I fucked up then, didn't I? Because I was looking at people and Sharon and Don, the fastest.
There's a plaque on the wall outside of the Hare and Hounds which says February the 9th, 1979, UB40s.
Yeah, we played our first gig there, yeah.
What do you remember of that day?
Everything. I can't remember the gigs we played last week, but I can remember everything about the first ones. And it was a party for a girl called Susie Varty, and it was called Susie Varty's Party. We didn't know her. But we were in a little band, and we were putting posters up in the streets around Borsaleve and Moseley, just saying our name. Until to such a point, people were going, have you heard of that UB40? Dead quiet. And we hadn't even played a gig anyway. And the first one we did, we were so cocksure about it. We were really determined, this is what we wanted to do, that we wouldn't support any of the other acts on the bill. We had to be top of the bill. I don't know, stupid. But that's what I can remember about it. And we were so nervous and shaking. I can't remember anything of playing, you know, just nerves, just, you know, lost a couple of pounds. Only weighed about £7. Come off weighing about £5, shaking and shivering. But, yeah.
How many people were in the audience?
Oh, not as many people who were here.
Really?
Yeah, no. It was a birthday party in a room full of cobwebs above a pub. You remember them old days when you'd have engagement parties and wedding parties, you know, and they'd have chairs on the tables covered in cobwebs, and you get them up and one bloke standing at a bar with bottles of brown ale, and them kind of days. And, yeah.
And 3 months later, Maggie Thatcher was elected.
Yeah, I can't remember that one.
The success for you as a band came very quickly after that, didn't it? Because by the early 80s, you were having hits.
But our first record was a hit. But I think that, and this is called, Pete said, he's a Coventry lad, right? We kind of got caught on the shirt tails of a two-tone movement, and Jerry Dammers and the Specials and the Selector, and that whole two-tone thing, that rock steady ska thing that happened. We were just around at the same time. And we got kind of caught on the shirt tails of that. So we were very lucky. And first record was a hit. And, you know, nothing succeeds like success. If you're in the music business, if you have a hit, they're going to play your next record. And if that's a hit, they're going to play your next record. And all you got to do is kind of have a hit. And we were kind of, you know, we looked like every gang of kids in any inner city. We were West Indian kids, Irish kids, Arab kids, white kids, Indian kids. You know, we just looked like, you know, a cross section of any city. And luck was on our side, I suppose. You know, and it's been a wonderful journey. It still is now. I mean, I'm going on at the end of this month. We do a UK tour. I'm not selling the tour. I don't mean to promote a tour. It's already sold out. You know, it's intimate stuff. And we go all around the UK. Then we're going on a tour of India, and we're going to Rajasthan and Pune and Mumbai, and it's mental out there. It's beautiful and mental and like nothing else, and we can't wait. And every day's a school day. You know, every day you learn something new and meet beautiful people and have lovely times. And it's a very privileged position to be in. I'm completely unworthy of it. Completely, as you can see. You know. No, I mean. I wouldn't harm it. I wouldn't hurt anybody. You know, I believe in love and peace, but I don't know how it works. You know.
Are you prouder of the songs that you've written yourselves as a band, or the cover versions?
No, I'm proud to. We've been proud to make tributes to some of the West Indian artists, Jamaican artists who invented reggae music.
Yeah.
Because you know we were from a world apart. But we grew up in the same place, you know, people that came from the West Indies and Jamaica and Barbados to live in central Birmingham. So that was our music as kids. And I met the guys who invented the music, you know, and hung out with them, and I stayed at my house, and I lived in Jamaica for 7 years, and we've hung out and done it, and I'm really proud of making them tribute records. These fellas often only got like $50 to do a version of a record at Studio One, you know, and Don, you can hear what I'm saying there? They only got small fees, you know, and never really earned anything. And when the publishing went out of rights, then we recorded them and got the publishing to them. And it sounds a bit self-righteous, but it's not. It's just the right thing to do. And so I'm kind of proud of that. But I'm very proud of the songs I've written, you know, and they've been hits. And, you know, so I sit there and I think, God, I didn't know how to write. I still don't know how to write a hit song. But I've written a load of them, and I don't know how it happens, you know, I don't think it's magic, I just think it's luck and business and PR and marketing and, you know, all the tricks that we have to use in business nowadays, you know.
Yeah, I was talking to Dave Wakeling yesterday from the who grew up in...
Did his first gig with us in Balsall Heath.
Balsall Heath, and he said one of the things that really got him into music was that he was playing in Balsall Heath, and then the next thing he was passing Highgate Community Centre, and he heard this music coming out, and went through the door and found you guys there, and he couldn't believe you weren't West Indian, Brian.
And that's the power of being an Irishman. We are everyone, we're everything. No, it's a music speaking for
He heard
itself.
the music
It's a
and
music speaking for itself. Yeah, yeah.
He had a picture in
So
his mind,
so often race and nationality is applied to music, and it's kind of racist in a way, though. You know, we can all be whatever we want to be, and we shouldn't be limited by race and by racial argument. You know, we should be as open as we can, I believe, and celebrate everybody who's cool in the world. You know, yeah, good old David, nice fella.
Yeah.
Lives in Los Angeles now.
Yeah.
He's a right tough. He's a Hollywood tough.
He's just come over.
As easy back. Yeah.
He's on the Robin 2 on the 23rd.
Wow. Am I going? Yeah, I'm on the road. I'm on the road.
Institute, early October. And you're a Villa fan, yeah?
No. You say, I know. You say that wrong. This has been my whole life. It's been like this. I come from Zulu Central, Birmingham City Central, and all my friends are Blues fans. So when Birmingham City win, I'm always happy because my friends are happy. But you can't help it. Your dad takes you to your first football game, and that's the way it is. Yeah. And we're paying for it now, all right? We're paying for it right now.
Would you fancy having a supergroup with Geezer Butler?
Wouldn't be so bad. In fact, Bev Evan has been talking about it recently. Do you know about this?
Yeah,
you've heard about it. Yeah, I fancy God play horns for them. Yeah, play saxophone for them.
Yeah,
I'd love that. Yeah,
it'd be amazing.
Yeah, it's another thing to tick off on my CD.
Give him some class.
Playing with guys from ELO, The Move,
Yeah.
Traffic, Black Sabbath. Wow, fantastic, man.
Yeah, the saxophone is an amazing instrument because if you hear something like Baker Street or
Ralph Ravenscroft,
or Dave's Mirror in the Bathroom with sax playing,
old sax,
incredible notes. Is there a sort of saxophone piece that you wish you'd written yourself that you just think is incredible?
Well, so many really, being a saxophone player, but more than that, really, I'm just a huge fan of music, and you know, sometimes the simpler things are the best. You know what I mean? Yesterday, Paul McCartney wrote by the Beatles. Who doesn't know that tune? You could hear that tune with a busker playing it in the Underground, or Ray Charles playing it on a piano at the Albert Hall, or the London Philharmonic playing it, and it's still an incredibly beautiful song because it's a simple arrangement of notes. And it's not about the complexity of an arrangement, it's about how it touches you and the simplicity and how heartfelt it is. And yeah, I'd want to write everything that's good. I'd love to.
What's your favourite piece in the whole UB40 canon then, in terms of...
the stuff I'm writing right now.
In terms of playing a song that you never get actually sick of, you know, because I guess you must get a bit fed up playing some of them sometimes, but is
But that's an interesting question.
Is there one piece that every single time you play it, it excites you and you...
Well, generally the latest ones that haven't been hits, the songs that we've recorded most recently or written most recently, that haven't been hits, so they haven't been kind of worn out. But on that note, I mean, people often say to me, I mean, we've had like 40 top 30 hits and 600 number ones around the world or something stupid. You know? And I have to say, I bet you get sick of playing that Red Red Wine and that Elvis tune, and I say, I bet you get sick of playing them. But the truth is, yeah, you do. You don't have to think about playing them because we've played them so many times. But you can be playing new stuff, and then you can see the exit doors going in the dark, you know, and the people going to the toilets. And you drop one of them old tunes in, and you realise they're like an old friend, and they make everybody turn around, all the doors stop moving, and they all come to sing them. And people that might see lots of your gigs go, oh, you're not playing that old one again, are you? But most people come and see a band every now and then. Every few years, you know, you go on a night out, and suddenly you realise they're old friends, and I have a deep affection for them, even though I never played them at home. Or I DJ sometimes at parties, you know, and I'd never play those old tunes. But when you're playing live, they're good old friends, you know, and yeah. And you know what? I think we're about at that moment where everybody could do with having a break from listening to me and have a drink and get on with what they were doing. What do you think?
Right, yeah, there's some questions from
Are you drying up?
Yeah, no, not at all. I live in fear of being boring. I mean, I don't know if I've crossed the line yet.
Let's see if there's any questions from the floor then.
Okay, let's do this one. Ask anything, yeah. Ask anything, yeah.
Yes, sir.
There were a lot of bands that came to prominence around the same time as you before.
Yep.
If you could have been in one of
The
the
specials.
why?
It's that unquantifiable thing. I don't know why. Oh, I'd like to have been in David Bowie's band. I'd like to have been in the Stones. But around the time we're talking about, the specials, that's it. That's it. And I know them now, they're my old pals. They're fantastic fellas. And they, I have to say to me, I wish it was in your band. I go, no.
Did you play with Bowie yourself?
Nice question, man, nice.
Did you play with David Bowie yourself?
Yeah. I played with him on stage a couple of times. Yeah. We did a tour and he had that Les Dance out and all that. You remember when he had blonde hair and 4 foot quiff and lovely fella. It's a good story, right? Is this okay? I mean, we're all pals now, and we're in the pub talking. So a couple of mates of mine had a band called Bentley River Mice, which is Richard March and Mike Stokes, and they were in a band before called Pop Will Eat Itself. Whether you've heard of them or not, they each had a bunch of hits. So Bentley River Mice, there's only 2 of them, were asked to DJ at a big rave kind of, about 20,000 people, and they're DJing. And Richard's gone off to the toilet. Oh, he's gone off, excuse himself. And David Bowie's in the place. I saw this. Oh no, this is a true thing. So as I'm coming back to where the DJ thing is, where my pals are, Bowie comes back and Mike Stokes, Richard's partner, goes, oh no, I can't believe it. A musical legend, the greatest musician I've ever seen. Richard March, right? And Bowie said, and David Bowie runs up and got him round the neck and got him on the floor. And he was a very sweet man, David Bowie. Not a brawler, but he got him round the neck and got him on the floor and rubbed his hair. And I just thought it was beautiful, with a good humour that he took it in, and Mike Stokes for saying it. I mean, what a lovely. Who'd have thought of that? Most people say, you can have a selfie, you can have an autograph. A very beautiful man, David Bowie, very sweet guy. I love music, incredible. We did a tour with him, and it was all giant football stadiums, about 10 gigs. And every night he stood on the side of the stage and watched every band that was on, not just his band. Now, I've done this for 37 years, and I don't have the energy to watch every support act that's on before us, He stood there every night dancing and listening, and I'm pretty sure soaking it all up, because it was a... the term great and genius, it's used a lot.
Yeah,
we all use it a lot. But I genuinely think he was.
Well, Dave Wakeling was saying exactly the same thing to me yesterday, because the last gigs the Beats ever played in their original guise were with Bowie at Milton Keynes Bowl.
Okay.
In July 1983 on the Serious Moonlight tour, and Bowie stood at the side and watched the Beats.
He said that, I've never spoke to Dave about it. Did he do that? Yeah. That's what he did,
And he brought them all drinks in the dressing room.
That's what he does. He was lovely. He was really lovely, Lovely fella. And
so, any more questions?
I never had his phone number. I'm not saying like we're best mates. He's a lovely fella.
I think Damien was saying he actually stayed in this hotel as well, so more connections. Sorry.
Hello, Susie.
Before you're travelling around the world, what were your best experiences and your worst experiences?
Well, okay, well, it's not unusual for any of us now to travel to far up places. We've all travelled around the world. I mean, there's anybody here who hasn't travelled anywhere. So we can do that nowadays. So, and that's my job. So all I really genuinely see is, I see the same people on the tour, and I see hotel receptions, and then you get in the bus or in the limos or in the cars, and you see backstages. So you can tour the world and see pretty much the same people all the time, apart from the few people you meet who come to see you. But it's more about the things that have happened when we travelled, When Nelson Mandela got out of jail, we always observed the cultural boycott that the ANC drew up in South Africa, and you couldn't go and play. And you get offered £1 million to go and play in Sun City, about 100 miles from Johannesburg. And people did, like Diana Ross and Shirley Bassey, and people who should have known better, they went and took $1 million, £1 million to play. But we never did. So when he got out of jail, then we did a tour there of all the big football stadiums. And that was kind of memorable because, we can tend to think of South Africa as being white people against black people. It wasn't that at all. We got to go to South Africa and see South Africans and real people in there. Every colour you can imagine. They look like we do in this room. They look like the modern world looks. And that was a pretty awesome thing to do. And you know, you'd be playing them gigs, and Richard Gere's on the side of the stage dancing, and you know, Michelle Pfeiffer and things like that. And you go, oh fuck, man, she's small and she, you know, and you know, and they come up and go, you got a fag? And you go, yeah. Even if you don't smoke, you give us a fag. So it's a strangest thing, and it doesn't mean I'm still a scrope from Portsaloof. And just an inner city lad, you know. But
Yeah, there's a chap over there, sorry.
Richard.
Hand in the head.
You spoke very passionately at the beginning about the respect of the working man.
Absolutely.
Is that something you always felt, or is that something you now sort of respect with the benefit of hindsight in terms of your life?
Well, I come from a long line of people who express themselves with pickaxes and shovels and working men. You know, I come from, that's the people I come from. I think I've learned how to maybe vocalise it and feel about it as I get older. I think we do as we get older, don't we? We tend to see things in their real light, and I'm very proud of me. I'm very proud. Yeah, that's a kind of good question, and you've got me. I don't know what to say. I think about it all the time.
What I was asking was, you've had this fantastic success in your life.
Yeah.
And you've travelled the world and you've met all these amazing people.
I truly have, honestly. I'm as surprised as you are about hearing it. I'm still surprised. Yeah.
Keeping in touch with that kind of reality.
Well, we still live where we come from, and I think that's very important. So I still see the guys. Like Adam, my partner now. We first knew each other as 7 and 8 year old children in junior school, and I think you said something about. Was it about show me the boy's 7 and that's the man? Yeah. He's always been the same kind of fellow, picking his nose like that, and smiling and being really easygoing, and being 45 years in between seeing him, and he's the same man. And yeah, I live back here, so people will say to me, your last record was really shit. You know, I go, oh, thanks. You know, at least, but it's still pals. It's only an opinion, and it's okay. You know what I mean? It's good, I think. It's good to be dragged back down to ground. You can surround yourself in this higher air and lose contact with where you're really from. And aren't we all? There's no place like home. Whether that's in your head or where you live, there's no place like home. And knowing where you come from, and I'm happy for that. Yeah. I think I might have lost my way a bit in my 20s. I might have thought I was special, you know. And, as we do when we're kids, and thanks, man.
There's somebody right at the back, Brian, over the hand there.
Guys.
Brian.
Hello.
Hi.
Are you still living in that place over Sturtley?
Yes, it's still around. Brian, if we had a time machine,
Yeah.
and we could travel back in time, what point would you travel back to?
About 4 seconds before you ask this question. And we pick somebody else.
Where would you travel back to? What would you change and why?
Oh, mate, my God. God. I'd go back so I was a bit younger. I wouldn't change anything. But I'd like to go round again. I think, you know, I've had a very exceptional amount of luck, you know, and good fortune. I'd like to do it all again, but I don't think I'd change anything. No. I think the mistakes you make, you learn from, and turn you into the rounded human we all aim to be, hopefully. We're supposed to, when we get to our age, know a few things, aren't we, and put right the mistakes we make. So I'd like to have another go at it. I'll go back to being 19, yeah. I'll probably be nicer to girlfriends. I'll probably tell the truth more often. You know. Oh, you know. Are you saying you too, or no? Thanks, Gary.
There you go.
I want to know what mistakes you have made.
Well, okay. The same ones that every single one of us have made. Told lies when we shouldn't have done. You know. chickened out, and the truth would have been kinder. You know.
Okay, never mind. What comes first, the lyrics or the music? When you write a song?
You know, it changes. Sometimes you get an idea for a melody and work a lyric to that, but generally it's that rhyming couplet, just 2 lines in a song, and that can give you the whole ethos for the whole song, and you're right behind it and in front of it.
So
And
which songs?
Bit out of the box here. Are you hoping to meet up with Gary Tyler at some stage?
maybe Gary Tyler, this is Bev Major, a friend of ours. Gary Tyler, we wrote a song 35 years ago about a guy called Gary Tyler, a black man, a black fella who got locked up in Louisiana for apparently killing a policeman. He was only a schoolboy, he was only 15 years old, and he spent longer in jail than any other man, longer than Nelson Mandela, longer than anybody you can imagine. And because of the way the law works down there, he just couldn't get he couldn't get a reprise on this, and he wouldn't admit his guilt because he wasn't guilty. And he's finally, after 40 years of being in prison, been released. And yeah, we'll meet him. Yeah, he's aware of everything. But I'm sure he's got better things to do than meeting up with pop groups and see his family and and catch up on what life he's got left. And yeah, a nice question. Yeah. Go on, Pete. 1 minute share, you'll come to next. Go on, Pete. Go on.
You can ask you how much for the fight.
To you.
No.
Nothing.
No.
For you, nothing. Your money's no good. All your money goes into Zoe's place. I know you can't buy anything anymore. Good for you.
I would say that as you've, from my experience of knowing you, Brian, that as we go through time, that you appear to be more humble and passionate about art than possibly you do about music.
Yeah.
Is that a true reflection of where you are? Or?
It's interesting you say that. Well, I'm in a band. Just by virtue of the fact when you're in a band, you're not in control. It's a decision of the board. They're board meetings. Everything's made, between a bunch of you. Whereas art, painting simply isn't a team sport. It's incredibly meditative. You can sit there and it's about you and what you're doing. And I'm really humbled anybody would even like these pictures. And it truly started off. We'd often get asked, can you donate something for a charity auction? For all these years. And you give them T-shirts and signed records. But then everybody does that. So I do little paintings, and then Michael Owen bought one for 20 grand, and that went round, and then people say, can I have a painting? So I do paintings, and it just seemed to get a little bit more attention for the fundraising initiative that was happening. But it's a really nice pastime. I was talking to Mark over there, and I was saying, do you paint? He goes, no, I fly fish. He likes fly fishing. But it's meditative. It's something you do just on your own, and it's given me the chance to celebrate, I think, in a respectful way, some people who I really had a lot of admiration for, like Muhammad Ali or David Bowie, or these fellas taking these kids in Aberfan, and So, but it's much the same. Music and painting are really much the same expression. It's abstract. It's no one has to like it. No one has to dig what you're doing. I don't have to care about it. But if you do, you have to care about it. That's all. And if you can spend your time doing something that makes you feel okay, wow, it's better than watching EastEnders. Having your soul sucked out through your face every night of the week. I mean, I know people like that programme, but shit, that's so miserable. Life's better than that, people. Life's better than EastEnders. Even if you do like it. You like it, don't you? Yeah, you love it, don't you? Yeah. Oh no, life's better than that, kid. It's not a true story.
Brian, I'd like to ask you, my grandfather is from Merthyr Tydfil, and
down the road from Aberfan.
Going back to your Aberfan situation, I'd like to know why you actually decided to choose to paint Aberfan.
Well, you know when we started talking earlier, and I'm just looking for a reason to paint. See, I fancy myself as an abstract impressionist, right? An abstract artist. I think the abstract exists purely to provoke thought. Now we got painters like the Dutch masters, you know, Van Dyck and Rubens and etc. etc. But what they paint, it looks like a photograph. It's photorealistic. It took them 4 years to paint them paintings with the end of a feather. Do you know what I mean? They had to make their own brushes. 4 years to paint them pictures. They look like photographs, but all they're ever going to be is a bloke holding a cabbage standing next to his house. That's always going to. That's what it's going to be. And the abstract exists purely to provoke thought. And I fancy myself as an abstract artist. But him, this fascist sitting there, I said, Brian, you've got to paint more figurative stuff so people know what you're actually doing if you want to make a living out of this, if you want to make it pay for itself. And it's expensive doing that. And so I start painting these pictures of the guys with pickaxes and shovels. I mean, well, let's start where I come from. I come from a long line of men. And, you know, families that paid the rent and fed us. So, let's have a talk to him. Is it Cash? Is it Cash? I'll have a chat with him, yeah. I started there, and it just led me to the, you know, these are the same guys that dug a transcontinental railway, the same guys that dug the Klondike out and effectively created our banking system. It gives us all credit cards with this magic money that doesn't exist. But we've all got tellies in the bedroom, we've got washing machines, our nans have got a telephone, we've got cars. We live better, don't we? We live better because of the banking system, and there's no question about it, we do. As unfair as it might be. But these are also the same guys that dug the kids out. And, you know, and I bet your grandfather went from Murphy-Tivville when that happened with his shovel, because there were so many men at this, there were 20,000 guys trying to dig this out. It was, you know, it's when do you think so? Yeah. I mean, listen, I haven't done it from imagination. These are from photographs. I painted photographs. You know, I was only 6 years old when that happened. But this year, it happened in 1966. So this year is 50-year anniversary. I don't know if it's something we celebrate, but I think it's certainly something we should remember. So it doesn't happen again. If we can remember something, hopefully it won't matter again. Like Armistice Day on November the 11th this year, we're going to celebrate that or remember it so it doesn't happen again, I hope. Because it's only men with pickaxes and shovels that have to go and beat cannon fodder and get killed in those wars. And so we've got to believe in ourselves.
Good answer.
I just made it up. To be honest. Go on, John.
If UB40 had never occurred, much to...
okay.
Yeah. If UB40 had never occurred and you'd gone through all these years as an electrician or whatever...
I'd still have been trying to be a musician, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'd still have been and I've got lots of friends who haven't had hit records, but they're some of the finest musicians I know. They're even better than the pro musicians who've had hit records.
Do you think that the artists would have come out in you?
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah. It's just, you know, we've all got some stuff we like to do, and we've all, you know, we're all artists. Every one of us are artists, but whether we know it or not. It's until Alex knows this. You didn't know you was a filmmaker till you started making films. And now you're a filmmaker. We've all got art in us, we've all got expression in us, and, you know. Thanks, Johnny. Cheers, man.
I think the amazing thing about the artwork that you're doing is the diversity of it, the range of styles, the quality of it.
Thank you, yeah.
Breathtaking, but also the sheer productivity.
I don't think that's the most important thing about art, you know. You know, wow, you painted a picture of Muhammad Ali and it looks like him. I mean, it's either right or wrong. And it's just draftsmanship. And I know there's engineers in the room, but it's draftsmanship, it's right or it's wrong. Somebody's nose is that big and that space is that much and this is that much. And that's not the art of it. It's art really is in what thought can you inspire from the picture? Can you inspire any thought? Now, when Muhammad Ali died, I mean, if we think of Muhammad Ali, I mean, a lot of people think of him knocking out George Fraser or, you know, or being in the middle of a fight. I don't even think of Muhammad Ali in that sense anymore. I think of him as an elder, greater statesman who could smile and laugh and show compassion for this world, and that's the art of those pictures. Hopefully, if I've managed to do it, them ones with a monkey sticking his fingers up, I mean, that fascist idea. You know, that was something I did for a friend of mine, just to make him laugh. And he's making T-shirts and all sorts. And
but the amount of stuff you're doing, it's almost like you must lock yourself in a room.
I do,
go
yeah.
into a complete frenzy.
Well, I don't sleep a great. I sleep about 4 hours a night, 5 hours a night, and then about once every 2 weeks, about 10 hours. You know, so I find myself awake in them wee hours and. With nothing to do, and the club's closed. I can't get licences to stay open late enough. So I sit at home in the quiet, you know, in the dark, and paint, yeah, and think. It's a great privilege, to be honest. It's a great privilege. I can't believe. I know if I had to work a shift at a factory or in a building site, I wouldn't be able to do that. I'd have to sleep longer. So it's a great privilege, you know. And,
how long does it take to do a typical piece? I mean, like those Jackson Pollock type things that.
Well, you know, paint takes a while to dry, so I generally have 5 or 6 of them going at the same time. Do you get what I'm saying? So you can only do so much, and that doesn't take very long. So I'll have 5 or 6 or 7 paintings going at once. So it might seem like I'm really industrious and productive. I'm generally drunk when I'm doing them, and not true. Yeah. Well, you know. You know what I mean? I swore to tell the truth. You know, I'm not an alcoholic. As luck would have it, I'm not an alcoholic. I don't get up in the morning shaking for a drink, but I'm generally drunk, yeah, or stoned, or you know. Yeah. I got a nice bit of hash if anybody wants. I have, honestly, yeah. If anybody wants a split, yeah, all right, yeah, I'll catch you in a minute. Yeah. I have, honestly. My mate, give it me earlier.
While we're here, where are we with the great split case?
Oh, well,
what's happening?
Well, I mean, most people won't know about it. I sing, the guy who was singing in the band, Ali, my best friend as a kid and my best man at my wedding, he left the band about 8 years ago to have a solo career, and it didn't work out as well for him as he wanted. And so we started another band called UB40, which is a bit of a confusion out there, but it's, you know what, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter, does it? I mean, yeah, hands up, does it matter?
No.
It doesn't matter, does it? Yeah. Oh, I wish him the best. I hope he gets everything he needs. My best mate. I haven't seen him for 8 years. My best mate, yeah.
You're going to settle out of court?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. If it's down to me, yeah, I'd just go and put my arm around him and buy him a pint.
I mean, it seems such a shame, doesn't it?
It is, yeah. It's who doesn't have relationship problems or emotional problems in their life, whether it's with your husband or your partner, your wife or your best mate or your neighbour, these things happen. You know, people get upset about things. You know, and not all as strong as me and you are. You know, you can't always take it like we can.
What would you say to Ali if you bumped into him in a motorway services?
Fuck off! No, sorry, no. No, I'd say hello, no. Yeah, no. I'd say no. I'd ask him how he's doing. Sorry, yeah.
I mean, you're both touring all the time. It could happen, couldn't it, you know?
It's going to happen.
2 o'clock in the morning, sunburn.
It's going to happen. No, it ain't going to be. It's going to be in an airport or something. No, I love him and look after him, of course. Yeah. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. It's been really fantastic. And hey, Don. Thanks, Bob. Thanks, guys. Wow. Thanks, Pete. Fantastic night, man. I hope I wasn't boring. It can go that way. You got to know when to stop. Cheers, guys. Cheers. Have a great evening. Cheers. Thank you so much. All right.
What's happening with all this stuff?
And just before I go, Zoe's place. If you only tell somebody about it, that's it. If you just mention it to your friend, it's an incredible place. Pete is the main benefactor of this place. I got took there the other way, and it's the last thing I'm going to say. I'll let you go after this. I've never been to a hospice, not even to visit, you know, like an old family member. I've just, as luck would have it, I've never had to go to one of these places. And I imagine them to be a dark, sad place, you know, somewhere where, fuck, you know, what a terrible place. Zoe's place, it's when children are born, they haven't got long left, you know, they're going to live a couple of years, 2 or 3 years. Her place is full of love and full of light and full of life. And it knocked my socks off. And that's it. Tell people about it. And if I give a quid, just £1 in the whole lifetime, fuck me, if everybody in this country did that, it'd be 70 million quid. Just £1. We spend more on a cup of coffee at Starbucks, spend £3.50 on a cup of coffee, drink half of it and chuck it in the bin. £1, just a fucking £1. That's all. Zoe's place. Anyway, that's it. Thank you. That's it. That's it. You all right? Thank you so much.